This Rometsch Lawrence is one of the absolute eye-catchers of the Volkswagen Museum in Wolfsburg. It sits proudly in a permanent collection, but its story is anything but museum-ready. In fact, about 50 years ago, this car was considered worthless. It was days away from being crushed, until the founder of the Rometsch Lawrence registry stepped in and bought it for just $200. That single decision saved one of the rarest coach-built Volkswagens ever made. Welcome to Amazing Aircooled Classics. Today, I'll take you through the real history of this Rometsch Lawrence and show you restoration photos you won't find anywhere else. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. The Rometsch Lawrence is part of what collectors call the Big Five of coach-built Volkswagens. And beside the Rometsch Lawrence, that groups include the Rometsch Beeskow, the Dannenhauer and Stout, the Beutler and the Denzel. And if you haven't seen my video on the Big Five yet, make sure you watch that one next. This particular Lawrence started his life in the United States. It originally wore a red and black color scheme, a striking combination that really suited the car. But in 1970s, 1980s, these cars were almost worthless. They were just old Volkswagens with an unusual body. Only a very few people recognized them as potential collectibles. This Lawrence had damage on the left front fender and ended up abandoned behind a Volkswagen shop. It was literally waiting to being scrapped for parts. That's when Phil, the founder of the Rometsch Lawrence registry, stepped in. He bought the car for $200. A bargain today, but back then it was simply the price of scrap metal. So, you think the car was safe? Right. Well, not exactly. The city where Phil lived in had strict rules. No visible junk allowed in the yard. And since the car didn't fit his backyard, he had to improvise. He removed the body from the chassis and even cut the car in half, just to store it indoors. Yes, this museum car was once literally cut in half. Luckily, Phil didn't do any further damage to the car. He kept the pieces safe, waiting for better times. And believe me, if Phil could find an affordable storage location at that time, he would have saved a couple more. Better times eventually came. The car was sold together with spare doors and hoods from another Lawrence that unfortunately didn't survive and had been parted out. From there, it made its way to Hessek-Oldendorf, a name every vintage Volkswagen fan knows. And eventually it was acquired by the Volkswagen Museum. And then the real restoration could begin. The museum entrusted the work to a specialist in Oldenburg, someone who had restored other museum cars as well. This Lawrence was restored the correct way. The Lawrence was completely stripped. The aluminium body panels were removed, so the steel frame underneath could be repaired. And this step is absolutely essential on Rometsch cars. Because of the electrolytic corrosion, aluminium slowly eats into the steel whenever the two metals touch. From the outside you barely see it, but the sails on these cars are often severely corroded. The total restoration took well over 1,000 hours, around 500 on the steel body and another 500 on the aluminium panels. And also some missing body parts like the bumpers had to be recreated from scratch. And the final result is stunning. For the finish, the museum chose a white and red two-tone color scheme. This was one of the original options offered by Rometsch. And back then, customers could basically request any combinations they wanted. The early factory sales pictures shows a white and black car. And cars sold to the US often were monocolor. What do you prefer? This white and red or the original red and black? Just let me know in the comments. For my own Lawrence, I choose a black with yellow. Something unique and not a combination you see on other cars. In general, the Rometsch Lawrence was built between 1957 and 1961 by the Berlin-based coach builder Rometsch and was designed by a Berlin-based furniture designer, Beck Lawrence. This was the only car he ever designed. Personally, I believe Mr. Kalman, who was the general manager at the time, did a lot of the design himself, as there are many design sketches of the Lawrence in his personal notebook. Unfortunately, I can't show you any pictures of this. This particular car carries body number 571, what makes the 71st Lawrence build, out of a total of just 85. It's a late model featuring the larger Fiat tail light and the extra cooling vert in the deck lid. The first 55 cars had round tail lights and all had a curved body style. The Fiat units were introduced with car number 55. From that time, a customer could also choose between a curved side or a smooth side. The smooth sides were specially asked by the US importer. Of the surviving Fiat taillight cars, half are smooth style and half are the curved style. The museum car is a curved style car, which gives the opportunity to use the two-tone color scheme. The additional cooling opening in the deck lid was introduced with car number 67. From nearly being scrapped, to being cut in half, to becoming a full restored museum piece. This Rometsch Lawrence has a dramatic survival story, but at least it was saved due to the passion of Phil and Maribeth Ledley, who started the Rometsch Lawrence tree. And after all, this car wasn't so bad to begin with. Out of the 85 cars, 34 are known to survive, and other Lawrences with a lot more body damage than the museum car are now restored or are getting restored to their former glory due to the good work of the Goodman family. These coach-built Volkswagens that were underappreciated in the 70s and 80s and even into the early 2000s are now the stars in museums and at Volkswagen events. If you want one, contact me privately. I can arrange something for you. Not cheap, but available. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give the video a like, give it a comment and share it with your friend. It really helps my channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more rare air-cooled history, restorations and behind-the-scenes stories. Thanks for watching Amazing Aircooled Classics and see you in the next one.